I want to thank my colleagues, our county executive, our, what's your title? Vice President, External Affairs, our leaders in education. Mr. Mayor, you've opened your city to me. I'm very grateful to be here. It's an honor to serve with you and work with you on the issues that matter so much to our community. And I want to thank my colleague, Congressman Higgins, who I have valued so much. I am so grateful for his leadership, for the innovations he's brought to his community through his service in the U.S. House. He's been a very dear friend and a great advisor, and I look forward to continuing our efforts on behalf of Western New York. Thank you all for coming here today. We had an extremely productive meeting. This is the kind of meeting I used to have in my home district, where I meet with all the local elected leaders on the issues that matter to them. You know, something about being a local elected leader, you really know what's going on in your community better than anybody else. You know exactly what people are worried about, what they want the government to be doing for them, and their advocacy is unparalleled and extremely effective and so valuable to me as their U.S. Senator, because when I can talk to the folks who represent you on a local level, we can prioritize, we can figure out which federal investments are going to make the most difference for creating jobs right here. We understand exactly which federal investments are going to have the greatest long-term impact as well as short-term impact. We know what the priorities of the communities are, so we can focus our efforts in those directions. And I cannot do that well without their leadership and without their guidance. And so today is just the first meeting of many that I will have with your local elected leaders and with you as a community, because I'm here to represent you in the U.S. Senate.
We're just going to take a few questions now.
Senator, what did you learn about Western New York today?
How exciting the opportunities are for growth. I think this Center of Excellence is really unparalleled around the world. It's something that is a hallmark for how you create jobs and economic growth. It's one of the unique partnerships where you bring education together with industry to form public-private partnerships to create a synergy for new investments. I think the future for this region in the medical industry, in the biotechs, in agriculture, we have a history of rich agriculture here in this region, and in new manufacturing is very exciting. So I learned a lot about some of the specific areas where we can get federal investments. They're in the education fields. Doubling the NIH budget, for example, will make a big difference for our medical profession. Making sure we have investments in infrastructure, traditional infrastructure like making sure our roads and bridges are effective, but also new infrastructure like high-speed rail. There was a unanimous agreement, I think, in that room about what opportunity would be created for Western New York if we had high-speed rail straight across from Albany to here and back, and straight down to New York City and up through Canada. We also talked a lot about the economic engines that being on a border means for this region, something that I share with this region in my old home district, to make sure that we have the appropriate relationship so we can have economic generation because of that relationship with Canada. So a lot of the problems and a lot of the ideas to solving those problems, I think, are some of the best I've ever heard, and I really look forward to working with our local leaders to get them done.
Senator, what can you do to bring jobs?
What can you do to bring jobs to this area? I think everyone would say that's what's needed most right now.
Well, the most important thing we're doing in Washington right now is to focus on how we improve this economy and how we create jobs. And in the economic package, the investment package we're working on right now, there are a number of areas that will create jobs in this region because of funding. So many of our small businesses and so many of our local communities, they need resources to grow, because if they don't have resources, they have to lay off employees and they can't make their businesses larger so they can hire employees. So there's three parts of this package that are going to make a big difference for economic growth. First, energy. $50 billion of this package is specifically for alternative energy conservation technologies, for research and development grants, for tax credits and tax incentives. So if you're a small business, for example, that's figuring out how to build new building materials that are energy efficient, you can then apply for a federal grant from the Department of Energy to help figure out how to make that technology more effective, how to bring it to market, and how to sell it worldwide. There's money specifically for that kind of growth. If you're another business, for example, locally who's applied to do biofuels, to either have a methane digester or have some kind of other biofuel production, we can do that right here in Western New York. So in the energy markets, there's enormous opportunities for small businesses and existing businesses to grow and to innovate so that they have lower energy costs. There's also a lot of money for infrastructure. Now, infrastructure investments are all sorts of things that have different effects. Obviously, if we got mass transit and had a high-speed rail every business in this region would be thrilled, because that means more customers, it means more opportunities to create synergies with existing businesses, and a greater economy. If we got money for infrastructure like water, if you talk to any mayor in a small town, a lot of their problems in growth is they have an old sewer system that can't accommodate flooding, can't accommodate what's happening in terms of growth, because you can't build a new business or a new restaurant or a new hotel if you don't have a sewer system that can accommodate that. So a lot of our local towns and villages and cities really have basic infrastructure problems, and having money specifically for water, we're going to have $6 billion specifically for water, which will make a huge difference for economic growth. The second part is of the infrastructure is new infrastructure, like healthcare IT. If we can make our hospitals more efficient, make less mistakes, then we have more funds to grow and provide healthcare for more people. That means we can hire more doctors, it means we can hire more nurses, it means we can provide more care. So there are a myriad of ways we are going to create jobs through this investment right now that, in my view, are long-term investments. The infrastructure and the energy investments are for the next generations. And then just last piece that I think is very exciting is education. And that's another long-term investment. There's a lot of money for Pell Grants, so families that are lower income can afford to send their kids to college. Automatic economic generator, because when you have the benefit of a college education and not just a high school education, you're eligible for many more jobs, and you are able to have a higher income. When you have a higher income, you can provide more for your family. You can go to our local stores and buy things that are necessary to let your family grow, whether it's health care or other things for their needs. So,
I'm sorry, we have time for one more question.
Bob McCarthy,
Senator,
Buffalo.
is there any particular project that's on the city or county list as far as these economic stimulus projects go? Is there anything that jumps out at you or anything that particularly impressed you that you'd like to work on?
well, there's a number actually, but one that my colleague Congressman Higgins is working on is waterfront revitalization, and that in and of itself has such enormous long-term benefits, because you're going to bring businesses to a very vital area. It increases tourism dollars. It increases opportunities for small businesses to have new markets. And so I think the leadership that Congressman Higgins has already shown on that issue is something that I'm really looking forward to partner with him on. All the local electeds are very excited about it. So it's something that I think will do great things. I think this center and the growth of this campus beyond where it is today, I think, is another great economic engine. Education is one of the biggest economic engines of this region, and so to expand that and expand opportunities, I think is very wise and something that really creates jobs long term.
And I apologize, but the senator does have to continue on with her schedule right now. But we'll certainly make her available later in the day. We have any questions.
Thank you very much.